Well, the rain continues to fall here at Watkins Glen International. Welcome back to a dreary Saturday in upstate New York. I'm Kyle Heyer, joined by Charlie Enslin for Drift Session 3 on the broadcast here this weekend. Charlie, welcome back. It has been an interesting morning on the racetrack. We've had a couple cars end up in the Armco and the Blue Bushes and things of the sort, which is unfortunate, but now we get to go back to drifting at Watkins Glen. And we talked extensively yesterday about the challenges these drifters were having with the grip levels that were available being too much and then too little, and now we're somewhere in between.
Thankfully, the conditions haven't changed too much from yesterday's session, so everyone's kind of probably on the same setup. Rained all morning. There was no dry weather ever here today, so probably very similar setups as yesterday, very similar feel as yesterday. I did see, I think we got 12 cars out there. Couple missing, couple of people hanging back, maybe trying to wait out for the next session a little bit drier, but should be a good one. I did see all three total lost BMWs go out. We saw one of those guys back it into the wall yesterday, but it looks like they got it fixed and back out.
That's good news. GRIDLIFE Live is powered by Hyundai N. Hyundai N, never just drive. And Falcon, the official tire of GRIDLIFE track battles. The car's on track now to drift, and as of yesterday, there had never been any drifting at Watkins Glen International. This is a brand new concept, a brand new thing that has happened here for the first time in history in the nearly, 75 years since racing started in the town of Watkins Glen. So we're the first to do it, and we've discovered there is all the challenges that came along with it, but they've been figuring it out slowly, Charlie, and the more they learn, the more aggressive they've been getting, the more successful they've been.
Yeah, I did talk to a couple other drivers this morning and last night a little bit. They're actually going back and watching the live stream and seeing everyone else's line. Because there is no reference point for any of this. That, like we said, it was the first time ever, so no one's really got quite figured out yet. No one's got it figured out in the rain, but as we talked about yesterday, rain is horsepower equalizer, so it should be a lot easier for some of the lower power cars to hang it out.
And you see, we're going out to a yellow flag here, a bit of a sighting lap, and then they're going to turn them loose. And one thing that I thought was interesting, Charlie, is I thought that we would basically get a sandbox to play in, like a couple of corners that you could drift and a couple that you can't. They've been trying it everywhere. Which is cool because they get the whole racetrack to figure out where is the best spot to drift, because they have to figure it out to do it.
Yeah.
Right? You can't just go out there and give it a go. You have to figure out and learn and play, figure out which line is the best, which corners are the best, because it's never been done.
Much like in GLTC and Time Attack, there's going to be corners that are a little bit easier than others, and corners they're going to have to work up to, and some really, really scary fast corners.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of those.
A lot
of those scary fast corners. And the other challenge here is a lot of those scary fast corners have big blue walls right next to the racetrack, and there's just not a lot of margin for error, especially in the boot section, which was added in 1971. And since then, it has fundamentally changed very little in terms of where the walls have been placed. The only corner that's really seen any significant change is turn number 8. And that's had some paved runoff added, but everywhere else, the walls are very tight, very enclosed, and a lot of elevation change, which plays into how you have to do your footwork to keep your car online and drift.
Absolutely. Yeah, not only that, we're seeing, we saw the boot and the bus stop being a very hot spot for drifting because it's being some of the lower speeds on this racetrack. So I think we're going to see that again today, and I think we're going to probably see a couple of these cars try and stack up and start doing some tandems.
I hope so. They're working their way through the boot right now. They'll come out at turn 10 shortly and then come back around up to the 90 at turn 1, which was one of the corners that we marked as a particular challenge because of how much camber the track has. You were kind of accelerating towards the wall when you get those wheels spinning.
And we saw a lot of angle at the end of that corner, and all the cars really wanting to snap back hard before the beginning of 2, which is an uphill. Theoretically, you could lay the power down and slide it right up, but it was a very, very hard stretch for most of our drivers yesterday.
I think the section that everyone was stitching together, as you alluded to, is really the inner loop. That right, left, right, and then there's a long right downhill where you can, if you get the car sideways and up on angle, you can carry that all the way around, and you can really stitch that together, and that's a pretty flowy sequence. And if you could get it to kind of manji just between 5 and 6, you can really get a right, left, right, then a right, and then a left, all in one continuous go, and that's probably what they're trying to work up to.
And they're big flowy corners, so if you can get it locked in, it's kind of just maintaining that drift and keeping the car relatively in the middle of the racetrack, I'm assuming, for most of these gentlemen here today. Get a wave out of the blue S13.
There's a couple trooper race fans sitting in the grandstands right now.
I'll tell you what, if you get a chance on this lunch break, if you get to pop around the site a little bit, there's a ton of campers here. It's kind of nice that obviously this place is so big, but everyone's got kind of a primetime viewing spot.
Yep.
So they picked a spot where they want to go watch, and depending on what kind of fan they are, whether it be drift or racing or time attack. There's a good spot for all of those areas.
And there are places in the paddock where you can find a spot to watch the live stream. Here they come out of turn 11. Big slides here as we come up onto the front straightaway for the first time. And here's through the bus stop again. Big sends and getting more comfortable and confident with the angle to carry and getting up wheel spin. But this is the challenge, is you've got all this angle. Now you've got to carry it, hand out the window. That's a nice slide.
There you go. Look at this. Pro-charged LS3. Probably about roughly 800 to the wheels, making it look easy out here today.
And into turn 1, here they go. A little bit, they're getting closer into tandems here, Charlie. A little bit of a slide and spin there from that leading car at the front of that shot, but everyone else in behind. Here we go.
Another Extremes Graphics car, same setup as a green car, Pro-charged LS. Sounding great.
And the Ute heading up the hill sideways.
Ute has no fear.
He definitely does not. And heading up now towards turn 3, which is that left-hander where the walls close back in again. There he is, still sliding. And already a little bit more action than we saw yesterday in session 2.
And some of these, the Ute driver here, particularly Colin, I believe is his name, is working his way. He's carrying a little bit more speed.
Wow.
So kind of getting out of the way of the other drivers here. But he is really, really throwing it in.
Manjing down the back straight.
Down, probably putting some heat in the tires a little bit here.
And then right here, he's going to kick it out.
Look at that.
Grabs a little bit of dirt and then into the bus stop.
Let's see if he can swing it back.
Oh.
Starting to even see a little smoke off these tires.
Yeah, just a little bit. It's been kind of hanging between damp and wet all day. And with a little bit of tire spinning, we can see a little smoke, but excellent work. He stitched this whole thing together, Charlie.
Yes, he did. Really cool build. Homebrew, 8.8 straight axle in the back. Custom-made 4-link suspension, Barra 4-liter, 800 horsepower, party car.
It's fun to watch it. He said he's planning on putting rear seats in it and harnesses and everything.
I don't know if he's going to put rear seats in that. I think he's going to build a 4-door car.
Oh, I thought there was. I'm thinking it was like a crew cab for a second.
I don't think.
You could just strap him on the back like a Subaru Brat.
We can take people for a ride one time.
That'd be awesome. It's just a lawn chair in the trunk, in the bed. But I think it'd be cool to have a Subaru Brat would be an awesome drift ride car. No?
No.
Oh, man. You put people outside, strapped in, be the best roller coaster ever.
I want to be outside of a drift car around Watkins, Glen in the rain.
Yeah, maybe not.
Tell you the truth, buddy.
Down into 1. Here we go again.
Let's see what happens here in 1. If we can get the angle right through here. Watch the angle he picks up at the end of this corner. It's almost straight into that wall.
He's going to try to link it into 2.
See if he can swing it back and link it.
Oh, nicely done.
Little tab of the brakes. Now power out through this whole corner. Beautiful.
That was very well done. He's still got a little bit of angle. It's going to go away now, but it's going to sweep back to the left. There it is. Kicks it out. And he linked 1, 2, and 3.
Staying
Charlie.
in it.
Wow.
Staying in it. Great sounding car.
And can he get it in all the way into 4 sideways? Yes, he does. That was awesome.
So if we get a Maji here, nope, he's gonna pull out of it.
I think if you would probably need like 1,200 horsepower to do that in the dry. I mean, that is a long distance from 1 to 2.
But we got rain, and probably didn't do too much damage to his tires, so he'll cool it down a little bit. Maybe we'll see a little action in the bus stop here, but that was probably felt great for sure.
You see him kind of working the front tires there to test out the grip. It's interesting because he did 1, 2, 3, and 4. Well, look, some of the other cars did just really the bus stop 5 and 6.
Sure.
So they're just all doing different things to try to figure out what the best section is to spend your energy.
That was a great example of a big commitment the first couple corners, and gonna feel the car out for the next couple. We saw him skidding those front tires. Maybe he's trying to put heat in those front tires as well. They still play a big part in keeping the car pointed in the right direction. As much as they drive with the back of the car, you still need some heat in those front tires.
Well, the Ute came back on in, but there's a handful, about a half dozen cars coming down to turn 1, including that BRZ. Or is that
a couple cars stacked up? Pete Collins bringing up the tail here. Extremes Graphics car in the middle slot.
Ooh, big angle there on exit. And again, the track doesn't flatten out really until you get to turn 2, so the camber continues even onto the straight.
But we can see it. Not a lot of people going for this turn 2, this uphill right-hander. Very intimidating corner. I think it does tend to suck you into that wall, that outside wall.
But the drivers that have done it, they've been able to carry it in really all the way up the hill.
Absolutely.
And even onto the back straightaway, which is the most impressive thing for me because the radii of these corners progressively gets less tight. So turn 2 is the tightest of them. Turn 3 is a little looser. Turn 4 is really a big, long sweeper. So that's very difficult to carry as you're trying to accelerate out of it, because it's hard that you're not actually turning all that much.
No, you're just trying to keep the power down. The car settled.
Right.
Is the biggest thing here.
Into the bus stop again. This has been the hot spot.
Nice fluid drifts through here, though. They really got this part figured out. You can see the line has changed a little bit. We saw everyone clipping that inside rumble strip.
Yep.
And now they've kind of fanned it out a little bit. Pete Collins trying to get on the door of this purple S14 here, which is great. These guys have probably driven together a handful of times, but you got to love the commitment for both the lead and follow driver on an untested racetrack in the rain.
Yep. And it's been fun because progressively every session we've seen drivers just stitch more and more pieces of it together. Really, the first session, it was just trying to get the initiations out with the grip level that we had. And now that they figured that out, the rain has helped a little bit with that. It's focusing on then next the sections that you can drift, and then also the lines after that to stitch it all together.
So here we go. We're going to see this turn 1 again here. He's going to stay out of it.
So he did 1 through 4 last time, and I wonder if this lap he's going to try a different section potentially.
Maybe he decided that wasn't worth it to try that again.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool to watch, I'll say that. Here's the roof rack BMW. I've enjoyed watching this car all weekend.
Yeah, pretty neat car. Packed kind of right over by us. Nice cage. Seems like a pretty simple setup, which is, again, ideal for most of these guys. Less time you spend working on your car, more seat time you get.
Yeah, I think he's had a little bit of trouble with getting and keeping angled. Even in the wet, his car's been snapping back center.
Yep.
We saw it there, too. He's just been unable to get sideways and keep it there, which has been the challenge. Let's see if the bus stop becomes the point of interest for this car. Got NOS Energy drink boards on the side, the official partner for the stage this season and for the NOS Energy Track Battle Championship. Here we go.
Fein in. Just minor corrections. Let's see if we can put it down. Wow, big angle.
Yeah, big angle. Now can he split the difference here on the curbs? Beautiful line. And now the tricky part, coming back out to the edge of the track.
Beautiful.
Yes, and then kicking it in. Nicely done.
Smoke puffing out of that left tire there.
There we go. That was excellent.
Trying out.
That was an excellent run through there. And, you know, I was wondering, even the corner workers that are trackside, they've been here, many of them, for a long time, and they've never seen this. I was wondering what their first impressions of this were yesterday, but now I think they're starting to see really how this is playing into it, because they're watching something that they've never seen at this racetrack in 20, 30 years of being here.
Yeah, usually when you see a car sideways around 1, that's a record.
You're getting ready to call in a
yeah.
yellow at that point. at least not getting on sideways on purpose at that point.
No.
So it's definitely a different thing. They're probably reaching down and getting ready to pull that yellow flag out. Well, never mind.
We kind of see it at all the racetracks we go to that aren't familiar with this, that the workers are a bit nervous at first, but as they see the skill that our drivers possess, they start to enjoy it more and more as the sessions progress through the weekend.
And a big thank you also to the corner workers that are here this weekend. As always, they spend a lot of time out there in the cold and the rain, keeping the racetrack safe, calling in everything throughout the day. So big thank you to the corner workers and all the track staff here this weekend, making it an awesome event. So appreciate that as Pete Collins works his way through the inner loop.
Carrying some speed in here.
That's a lot of speed, but he's online.
You can see the front wheels. He's just got it locked in. He's not making a lot of corrections in there. He's just steering it with the back of the back tires, the throttle. Bunch of angle, carrying it down through.
You got to get that speed up here. But nicely done though, Charlie. Again, I think this is kind of the area that we've kind of pinpointed as the spot. Is really that bus stop through the carousel, which is if the fans got down there, there's a nice area to watch that whole section. But certainly that's kind of been the hot spot so far this weekend with drift. On this racetrack.
It seems to be the spot that most people are comfortable with starting at. We're definitely not seeing a lot of that 1, 2, 3 combination. Lot higher speed, lot higher risk. It's going to be tough to really figure that out. But
wow, look at the visibility on this shot.
If anyone's got it figured out, we got this green LS Power Pro Charged, basically a Pro 2 car, is the only one that we've really seen hit this steadily today.
Yeah, looks like he might skip it again this time, though. The visibility is getting pretty poor. We could see the far distant hills when the clouds lifted this morning, but they've come back down again.
Yes, they've gone away.
And you can see in these long camera shots how it looks, but into the bus stop again. Here's that BRZ that we've been watching. He's been big commitment.
Whoa.
Whoa, you saw that
Lot of
car.
horsepower.
What happened there? It just got sucked backwards. It was such an interesting slide.
Yeah, he's going to get out of that.
He went sideways, and then he spun up the tires, and the car went backwards.
Sucked him into the wall.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a little crown on there.
I bet you that's what it is. The crown on the surface for drainage, when he got the tire spinning, lost all that grip, and instead of the tires spinning him forward, the crown of the road just dumped him off the track.
Yeah, the momentum carried him just right back into the wall.
What a fascinating physics lesson we just got right there.
I'm sure he's fascinated by it.
I bet his fascination's a little less excited than mine, but that was interesting.
Nice and smooth through here, though. Everyone's got this figured out. Again, you can see the front tire is pretty much just locked in, which is what you want to see.
A little bit of handbrake there.
Minor throttle inputs, a little foot brake, you can see the lights come on. Keep the angle out.
Such a fun section. That carousel's perfect. Pete Collins, way big commitment.
Bring it back, Pete Collins.
Little too much down there at turn 1. But that's what they paved it for.
That's exactly right.
That used to be a gravel trap for many, many years.
At least now, if you dump it back there, you can drive yourself out.
Yeah. It was a gravel trap, and then it got a little bit of pavement, and then they just paved the whole section. And here comes the bus stop again.
Didn't get a chance to see under the hood of this S chassis. See if we can hear it and see what kind of power plant we got.
Well, as it comes by the camera shot here at turn 5, should get a pretty good idea.
Sounds Chevy powered to me.
Yes.
Those look like Mustang wheels to me. I'm not sure if they are. They look like the old five-spoke mag wheels that used to come on the Mustang, which do fit S chassis.
That is a particular skill to be able to tell what wheel you're looking at when it's spinning.
Well,
because they all kind of look the same when they're spinning. They just look like circles.
When you stare at wheels as long as someone like me, you kind of get good at these useless things now.
Okay, good to know. I'm like looking at it going, they're round and they're white and they're spinning, and that's about all I can tell about them.
Well,
but
I'll show you.
All right.
We got time.
Here is this is Cody Smith.
This looks like we're maybe setting up for a lift session here.
Potentially, but Cody Smith crashed this car in track battle.
Great
yesterday.
looking car. We've seen some different variations of this car through the years. A lot of aero on it at one point in time, but now a new livery for the year. It's just really a good looking car.
Yeah, it's a 1985 Oldsmobile Cutlass, and we've seen it take many forms over the last couple of years. And he's progressively worked on it. But one of the things that he had a challenge with, and this is just a challenge with any car that of that vintage, is that you can tune them and fix a lot of things about them, but you can't fundamentally change the old car feel.
Sure.
Which comes with a lot of chassis flex and things of the sort. So it's been interesting to watch him develop that
Those
car.
chassis, in particularly in the drag racing world, have what they call the G-body shuffle. They're known to be very weak unibodies.
Yep.
So there's a lot of effort gone into that to stiffen that car up. It's not a very popular chassis, so you can't just buy stuff off the shelf.
Right. Yep.
You're making a lot of stuff. You're getting a lot of your partners involved to help you make this stuff for the first time and test it. Big slide from the S chassis here. So yeah, I love seeing stuff like that. That's right up my alley. Make it as hard as possible on yourself.
Exactly.
And go to the hardest thing you can.
Yeah, good. Yeah, definitely don't take the easy route, because that would be
No.
what's the fun in that?
There is no fun in that.
Yeah. If your car's not on jack stands, then you're doing it wrong. Or something.
Something like that.
That's the antithesis of the Sunday Cup mentality.
Yeah, it is.
That's the do the easiest possible thing.
Yep. And seat time, seat time, seat time.
Yep.
Driver mod. Coming down back into one here.
Big handbrake there.
Big handbrake.
You really got to grab handbrake or do a big clutch kick to get sideways there. And, you know, we were trying this in a set of Corsa like we talked about yesterday. And the challenge was the clutch kicking, you had to be so far driver's right, but as you throw the momentum to the left, and then it gets hard to chase it back into such a tight corner. So it almost seems like it's easier to grab a whole bunch of handbrake on the racing line and just kind of let the car tip itself in.
Especially in the rain. I think clutch kick might be a little bit too violent to initiate. We are seeing a couple of feint entries too. Just transferring that weight is probably enough in the rain to get these things sideways. Just power over.
And another great slide there through turn 5, the outer loop. That's a perfect drift corner. You just need about 5 more of those linked up next to each other. And the inner loop is, while it looks like a tighter complex of corners, when you actually smooth it out, it's actually not all that different from the outer loop. It's just kind of inverted, and that's kind of why they call them the inner and the outer.
Yep.
If you take a look at the map, they're pretty similar when you smooth out that inner loop radius.
Almost a mirrored image, yeah.
So that's why they found some success drifting those particular sections.
Yeah, I wonder if it does seem that the track is starting to dry out just a little bit. We have a bunch of mist kind of just hanging around with no actual rain.
It's just been in this purgatory in between state all morning. It's damp and kind of in between. There's not a lot of standing water anymore, but there's just kind of the track's slippery.
Yes.
It's not going to get dry because there's not going to be any sun for the rest of the day. So the challenge remains finding grip and not getting spooked when it goes away at a different part of the track.
Yeah, I am curious as the day continues through if the time attack sessions don't help dry out the track a little bit. Sunday Cup guys, they kind of tried a bunch of different lines, so that helps drying out the track a little bit as well.
Heading towards the bus stop, a couple more drift cars going to give this a go and maybe try a tandem here, Charlie. They look like they're pretty close nose to tail.
Oh, who's behind them here? If that's Pete Collins there behind them. They were kind of getting along a little bit earlier in the session.
Yeah, it looks like it from a distance. Maybe.
Yeah, they're going to
nope.
follow them in. No.
Nope. Not Pete, but this is as close to a tandem as we've seen so far this weekend, getting closer and closer.
Big e-brake pull. Listen to come out of the boost, hand out the window.
Oh, I love bouncing off the rev limiter. It's such a cool sound. The whole time.
I think that was a BMW behind him, too.
It is. And we're going to try turn 1 and 2 and 3 and 4
entry.
again. Yep.
Big entry.
Back on power. He's going to try to swing it back right, then back left, then do turn 2 again. Yes.
He's going to lay in, and if he can get it locked in.
Yep, he's got it.
Brake. Power down, up the hill.
No one has really been brave enough to do this multiple times.
Look at the speed he's carrying, too. Just moving through here.
Wow.
Getting out of it, yeah. I'd imagine at the end of this, you're picking up so much speed, you almost just kind of got to get out of it.
Right. Well, that's what we talked about earlier, is once you get here at turn 4, the radius opens up so much. I mean, even in slow cars, you're doing over 100 here. Right. In fast cars, well into the 130, 140 range in a grip car. So similar in a drift car at that stage. And getting wheel spin at that speed is very challenging no matter what your gearing is.
And it's going to get away from you quick.
Yep.
Perfectly on that line coming into the bus stop, though.
Yeah, and again, they've been doing such a great job respecting the limits of the track and keeping the tires out of the grass. And I think I've seen 2 or 3 blades of grass go, and that was basically it.
Yeah, and we saw that BRZ get sucked back a little bit, but he was real quick to make a change, get out of it. He's carrying the angle all the way through, nice and smooth. You can hear him just dancing on the throttle.
Back.
Let's see if we got a faint entry here. Yep, you can see that it doesn't take much to
Whoop.
get him sideways. That didn't clutch kick, didn't e-brake, just kind of transferred the weight, and it spun the car right around.
Yeah, a little too much there, but you hear the fans cheering.
Yeah, we got a lot of fans here sticking it out through the weather. Everyone's got their rain gear on, having a great time.
Yeah, it is a tough day to stand out there as a spectator. So thank you so much for being here for this, and whether you're in the grandstands or the Advanced Auto Parts pit stop booth, or whether you're watching by the Jumbotron, the arcade. I mean,
Thanks for all coming out.
There are places to go.
There are places to do. People to see. The concourse is starting to load in. A bunch of neat cars have showed up there over by the Toyo hauler. That's going to be a really neat thing that's going to progress through the afternoon. And then, I just wanted to say thank you to the live stream team and our ops team and our motorsports team and everyone that's working so hard in this not ideal condition to make the event continue on. So,
yeah, tough weekend weather-wise.
We're here. We're not going anywhere. We're going to enjoy it, and we'll make the best of it.
We certainly will. That's going to do it for Drift for now, though. I think it'll have some Drift lift here, but that's going to wrap things up for lunch for us. We're going to step away. We'll be back up next with, I think it's going to be 12:50. That will be Track Battle, NOS Energy Track Battle Championship Qualifying 3, followed by GLTC Race 3. So we'll see you back at 12:50 Eastern. It's about an hour from now. We'll see you there.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.